Welcome to Context 101. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. Schakenstense, Onextanders of Row. In a move that has stunned the world and sent shockwaves through diplomatic circles, North Korea has offered military support to the Philippines, a key U.S. ally and a nation at the heart of Asia's security landscape. This isn't fiction or rumor. On January 2, 2026, North Korea's ambassador arrived in Manila for a high-stakes meeting with the Philippine Defense Secretary. In a direct and unprecedented proposal, Pyongyang declared its readiness to help defend the Philippines' sovereignty, an offer that caught even seasoned diplomats off guard. For a nation locked in a tense maritime standoff with China, any offer of support is significant. But coming from North Korea, it's nothing short of a geopolitical shockwave, raising questions and eyebrows across the globe. The Philippines has long been a cornerstone of American strategy in Asia, bound to the U.S. by a mutual defense treaty that has lasted over 70 years and shaped the region's security architecture. North Korea, meanwhile, has defined itself by its fierce opposition to the U.S. and its allies, often positioning itself as a defiant outlier on the world stage. This offer from Pyongyang challenges the very foundation of Asia's security order and forces Manila into a delicate balancing act, weighing old alliances against new possibilities. Is this a genuine partnership, a clever ploy to sow discord among rivals, or a bold attempt by North Korea to reshape its own image and influence in the region? The world is watching Manila's next move with bated breath, knowing that whatever decision is made could strain U.S. ties, provoke China, and dramatically shift the region's balance of power. This is more than a diplomatic oddity. It's a test of loyalty, survival, and the shifting sands of global power, with consequences that could echo for years to come. Understanding how we got here is crucial to predicting what comes next. Let's dive in and unravel the story behind North Korea's stunning offer. To truly grasp the shock of North Korea's recent offer, we need to look back at the long, quiet history between these two nations, a history marked more by silence than by engagement. For decades, the Philippines and North Korea barely interacted. Their embassies were often quiet, their diplomatic channels rarely used, and their cities seemed worlds apart, both politically and culturally. During the Cold War, Manila stood firmly in the U.S. camp, hosting American military bases and aligning itself with Western interests. Pyongyang, meanwhile, was backed by the Soviets and China, isolated from much of the world and locked in a different ideological struggle. It wasn't until the year 2000 that diplomatic relations were formally established. Even then, the relationship remained minimal. No state visits, no major economic deals, and certainly no military talks. The two countries maintained a cautious distance, with only the most basic diplomatic ties. The Philippines' security has always depended on its alliance with the United States, participating in joint military exercises and relying on American support. North Korea, on the other hand, has defined its foreign policy by its hostility to Washington and its allies, seeing them as threats to its regime. So why the sudden shift? What could possibly bring these two distant nations to the negotiating table now, after so many years of indifference? The answer lies in the changing dynamics of the world. The global landscape is no longer what it was just a decade ago. The rise of China as a regional powerhouse, renewed Russian assertiveness, and shifting U.S. priorities have created a more fluid, unpredictable environment in Asia. Old certainties are fading, and new risks and opportunities are emerging. Old enemies are now seeing new opportunities, and alliances that once seemed unbreakable are suddenly under strain. The rules of the game are being rewritten in real time. The once dormant relationship between Manila and Pyongyang is now in the spotlight, not because of their shared past, but because today's strategic calculations have been upended by global uncertainty and shifting power balances. The stage is set for a dramatic new chapter, one that could reshape not just their own futures, but the balance of power in the region. The South China Sea is the heart of this story. China's sweeping claims and aggressive actions have put the Philippines under constant pressure: naval blockades, ramming incidents, and daily threats to sovereignty. Manila feels cornered and is rethinking its defense strategy. Seeking new partners beyond the U.S., recent years have seen the Philippines strengthen ties with Japan and other regional democracies, signaling a search for broader support. North Korea's offer comes at this moment of vulnerability, promising support for Philippine sovereignty, without naming China, but the message is clear. Pyongyang is inserting itself into one of the world's most volatile disputes, positioning as a counterweight to Chinese aggression. For Manila, even an unlikely offer from North Korea is hard to ignore. China's pressure has created the conditions for this bizarre diplomatic twist. The stakes couldn't be higher. On January 2, 2026, North Korea's ambassador met with the Philippine Defense Secretary and made a direct offer of military cooperation, including sharing strategic information and technology. Pyongyang touted its self-reliant defense industry and framed the offer as solidarity with the Philippines' struggle for sovereignty. This wasn't just propaganda, this was high-level diplomacy, forcing Manila to respond. The timing is no accident. North Korea, emboldened by its deepening military ties with Russia, is seeking to disrupt the U.S. alliance system and expand its influence. By reaching out to a U.S. ally, Pyongyang signals its ambition to play a disruptive role far beyond the Korean peninsula. The world is left to wonder, is this a genuine offer, or a calculated move to shake up the region? Manila must decide. The Philippine government's response: extreme caution, and a careful weighing of every word and gesture. With the world watching, Manila knows that even a small misstep could have outsized consequences. Defense Secretary Teodoro expressed cautious optimism, promising to study the offer, acknowledging it without accepting. His words were measured, signaling openness to dialogue but stopping well short of any commitment. Manila is walking a diplomatic tightrope. Rejecting North Korea outright could close off valuable leverage, but embracing the offer risks rupturing ties with the U.S. and alarming regional partners. Every move is scrutinized by both friends and rivals. The Department of Foreign Affairs echoed this ambiguity, calling Pyongyang's proposal unsolicited and under review. Officials are deliberately vague, keeping their cards close to the chest. This buys time for back-channel talks with allies, especially Washington, and lets Manila assess whether North Korea's offer is real or just a propaganda ploy. Behind closed doors, intense consultations are underway. Some in Manila see value in keeping the channel open, signaling to both Beijing and Washington that the Philippines has options and is not beholden to any single power. But the defense establishment remains deeply committed to the U.S. alliance, viewing China as the primary threat. Security ties with Washington are seen as the cornerstone of Philippine defense. The official stance is caution, but a real military alliance with North Korea remains highly unlikely. For now, Manila is content to keep its options open, while avoiding any sudden moves. Manila's playing for time, hoping to avoid triggering a diplomatic explosion. The stakes are enormous, and every decision could shape the region's future for years to come. North Korea's offer sends shockwaves through the Indo-Pacific's alliance network. The U.S.-Philippine alliance, formalized in 1951, is the bedrock of Manila's security. Even considering a partnership with Pyongyang challenges this historic bond and risks undermining trust with the U.S., Japan, and South Korea. The U.S. has recently expanded military cooperation with the Philippines to counter China, making this moment especially sensitive. For Japan and South Korea, both deepening ties with Manila, North Korea is an existential threat, and Manila's flirtation with Pyongyang is deeply unsettling. The move also complicates the regional dynamic with China, as North Korea is one of Beijing's few formal allies. Is Pyongyang acting for China, or for itself? The ambiguity only adds to the region's uncertainty. Every nation is now reassessing its alliances. Most analysts see North Korea's offer as a calculated act of political warfare, not a genuine alliance proposal. The goal: create chaos and division within the U.S. alliance system, forcing Washington and Manila into an awkward position. By making the offer public, Pyongyang fuels debate, sows doubt, and claims a propaganda victory. Even if Manila rejects it, North Korea, emboldened by its ties with Russia, is signaling that its influence extends beyond the Korean peninsula. This is a low-cost, high-impact move to disrupt adversaries and elevate its international standing. Still, some argue the offer of military technology could tempt Manila, given its need for affordable defense hardware. North Korea's vast, if outdated, arsenal is in high demand globally. For the Philippines, the prospect of new tech, even from Pyongyang, might be quietly considered, if not publicly embraced. The real impact is in the uncertainty it creates. If Manila were to accept North Korea's offer, the fallout would be immediate and severe. The US would likely suspend military aid and joint exercises, leaving the Philippines more vulnerable to China. Economically, cooperation with heavily sanctioned North Korea could trigger secondary sanctions, crippling the Philippine economy and risking global financial isolation. South Korea, a key defense partner, might halt cooperation, fearing technology leaks to Pyongyang. The broader network of regional democracies would be undermined. Ironically, the biggest winner could be China. A fractured US-Philippine alliance would clear the way for Beijing's ambitions in the South China Sea. North Korea's anti-China rhetoric masks a move that could ultimately serve Beijing's interests. The paradox is clear: a move meant to counter China could hand it a strategic victory. We're at a crossroads. North Korea's offer exposes the shifting, unpredictable nature of modern geopolitics. Most likely the Philippines will decline, reaffirming its US alliance. The risks of partnering with Pyongyang are simply too high. But the fact that Manila didn't immediately reject the offer is telling smaller nations are feeling squeezed by great power competition. This episode is a wake-up call for the US and its allies to remain reliable partners and address their allies' anxieties. Adversaries like North Korea are getting more creative in exploiting cracks in the alliance system. The future of Indo-Pacific security depends on how these challenges are met. In geopolitics, expect the unexpected. The world is watching, stay informed.